Clintonville, a small town in rural Wisconsin. Your typical small town USA. No one would think that a crisis impacting the largest financial institutions in the nation could impact such a small community so greatly. Yet the effects of the 2008 financial crisis have rocked both the nation and this small farm town.
We're sitting here, it has affected the community, and I think this will go to one of your questions later. It affected some of it, the more housing prices, prices dropped, and part of that was people losing jobs and so forth. People couldn't afford it, regulations stepped in, and so forth, but it was affected. The community had a lot of jobs and the values and so forth.
So why did this devastating crisis happen? We started our research by looking up what the experts had to say about the 2008 financial crisis. The experts seem to think that all of this started with a simple problem: mortgage dealers giving mortgages to people who couldn't technically afford them. These subprime loans were called teaser loans, giving people low interest in earlier terms of their mortgage and ballooning later in the term, disallowing these new homeowners to be able to keep up with the now double-digit interest rates. Mortgage lenders didn't normally hold the loans, though. They often sold these loans to banks or Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, two institutions designed to buy up mortgages and provide mortgage lenders with more money to lend. These institutions would then sell them to investment banks that would bundle them together with thousands of others and start a mortgage-backed security, which would create an income stream consisting of all the monthly mortgage payments. They would then be cut into smaller pieces and would be sold to investors who would mistake them as low-risk investments, but it turned out to be the opposite.
Here's how a guy explained it to us. Let's just say you're standing on top of a basket, on a ladder with a basketball, and there's the hoop. And it's, what is the chance of that going in, if you go like this or drop the ball? Yeah. That would be like AAA, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, now let's just say we're at half court and we're gonna fire it backwards like this. Yeah. Okay, well, what would that be rated? That'd probably be rated a D, right? Well, they rated them the same.
After these high-risk investments failed to pay their monthly mortgage, their houses were forced into foreclosure, and institutions like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who had invested so much money into them, lost millions. So did the banks. The inflating housing bubble had popped, and carnage was raining all around.
I would blame it on about 4 categories, and point blank, I would say it was involved everyone in terms of, I will say, the manufacturing and the job industry. We lost a lot of jobs. People didn't have the incomes anymore to support their debts and their homes and the payments that they had. The other aspect of it, I'll say, the part of it is the bank side of it. Well, I'll skip ahead here. I'll say government. Government is part of the blame too. The government regulations were laxed. There's a point in time there prior to actually 2008, 2001 and so forth, which kind of led up to 2008 in my opinion, where you could get a loan with no money down. You could get a loan without even verifying that you had income. Mm-hmm. As long as your credit score was a certain area, so forth in there, you could get a loan and you could go to a closing. You could actually buy your house 100%. In some cases, you actually came back out with money. The regulations and so forth are too loose, too lax as an aspect of that. The third part of that, then, I would say would be lenders, and it's the combination of bankers, credit unions, mortgage brokers, anyone who lent in terms of the housing side of stuff, and where a lot of those people in those positions, those industries, they're paid by commission.
Yeah.
So where they made the loan, they made extra money. They didn't care whatever or not. The rules and regulations were lax. They were following their guidelines. They were maybe finagling some stuff here and there with the income verification and so forth, where they just gave the people a loan and people took them and so forth. I will take a step back, and there's some people where, I guess I'll step forward. The fourth part of it, I'll say, was the consumer themselves. You or people as a consumer, you should know what you can afford. You should know your limits in terms of what you can actually afford or not. And people were, on the regulations and the rules that you could follow, they said they could afford so much in a payment. you know as what your income is, what you can afford extra from your lifestyle, from your other loans and debts and so forth. And people just didn't take that in consideration. People given these loans, they couldn't make their payment from day one because they were overextended on everything.
Jump the gun.
And I will say a lot of that blame comes from the consumers, in my opinion.
Our county, Wapaka County, has lost a total of 1,487 jobs during the recession. Employment in 2015 remains 1,100 jobs below its pre-recessionary high, indicating that our region has not fully recovered from this downturn. The most significant losses have occurred in the leisure and hospitality sector, 348 jobs, information, which includes printing, 307, and construction, 214. The manufacturing sector has been an area of growth, however, adding 538 positions.
Well, what happens is, you know, I mean, like, we had people that were laid off, you know. I know other business that had people that were laid off. So money was tight, you know. And you guys know that, you know, money turns 7 times, so when I don't pay you, you can't pay him, and you can't pay him, and it just has a big negative effect on everybody, you know. And it was terrible.
Even the small businesses in Clintonville were forced to undergo certain extremes in order to ensure their business's survival. These extremes consisted of laying off workers, not advertising as much, and asking for more part-time help instead of full-time.
The market got, you know, really slow, of course. There's lots of foreclosures. Properties weren't selling. And we actually had to go on some part-time help. What we did was we rotated every week. Somebody else had to take had to be laid off for that week, and that's how we kind of survived. We had to, you know, pull in our, you know, resources, and, you know, not advertise as much.
So, did Clintonville recover from the 2008 financial crisis?
The economy started growing a little bit here again now. The housing market, the prices have come back somewhat, about 2/3, I would probably say, to what they were prior. Will they get up fully yet? I don't know, but there's a potential. I think that could still come into play. Biggest thing is people, you need demand. You need people who have jobs, can afford it, want to go to a new house, and then more the demand to go up. And as part of all that, as part of the thing is there was a time in there where your municipalities and the townships and so forth were limiting housing, new housing starts, new growth. You have Appleton, Green Bay, and the bigger cities from here, these Appleton, Green Bay, Greenville, there were developers that were putting up 40-acre subdivisions at a crack. And a lot of those townships could not afford all the infrastructure because of the debt load and the taxes need to cover all that stuff. So they kind of put a moratorium on that part of it. So for the last couple of years, they were very tight on growing the lot market to be able to build new houses. So in turn, that drew demand over existing homes and some homes that we're able to build. So that helped bring the prices up a little bit.
And it affects, you know, it hurts people, you know, hurts us from doing our jobs. So, yeah, I don't know, it's a bad situation. I hope it doesn't happen again. I hope that the government gets out of the banking business and let the bankers take care of it. You know, but you know, I don't think it'll basically happen anytime soon. But it's definitely a drag on our country.
Yeah.